Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We can't hear most of
Hey.
you. Hi. I am Katie Young. I'm the chair of the Young Professionals Network, and I am here with two of our fabulous YPN committee members, Megan Denny and Stephanie King, who are going to share some lessons that they've learned in through their professional lives. you know, um, every day we're learning, and one of the amazing things about our profession is that no 2 days are the same. And because we are entrepreneurs, sometimes little things happen, and they can seem really catastrophic at the time. However, you learn as you go along, as these two ladies will tell you, and you're going to come out stronger and better and a better realtor on the other side. And so I'd like to say thank you to Stephanie and Megan for taking the time to prepare their stories for all of us here today. And the way that the Rise Up series is going to go today is Stephanie and Megan will tell their stories, and then we are going to have a Q&A, so you can ask questions in the question box, and we will pull them up, and we can go from there. And I hope that we have a really amazing hour with you all. Thanks all for taking the time out of your day. It's a beautiful day. And I'm going to start here with Stephanie, who is a longtime YPN committee member. She's a real estate broker, and she has also served on the Realtor Quest and 100-Year Anniversary Task Force. She won the AREA YPN Leadership Award in 2021 and just received the David Rossi Committee Service Award from TREB for 2021. She is bubbly and great, and she's going to tell us her story.
Thanks, Kate. I'm super excited to be here today. I'm really excited about the Rise Up series. I think we all have these things that happen, and I think it's just great that we can all share and we can be a part of this and laugh and giggle together, because let's believe we all have them happen, and it's better to laugh about it and learn from it than feel that you're there by yourself, and remembering that we all probably have had all the same mishaps happen. But today I'm sharing my fridge mishap edition. Also, just wanted to point out, I apologize to everyone. I don't know why I can't go into slideshow mode, but so I apologize. You can see all the slides in advance, but we'll go through it together. So let's jump in. Social media is a wonderful, wonderful fact in this world. It is pretty much a part of most of our lives. But the thing about it is we see everyone's successes. We don't see their failures. No one's going to post about the bad day they've had. They're going to post their wins, their successes, the things that make them look amazing, which is great. But again, I think that's why the Rise Up series is so wonderful, because we can learn and grow and rise up together with everyone's, not failures, but mishaps that we've all experienced. I've been in real estate for just over 5 years now, and this goes down as well. For the first couple of years, it was a negative memory, but it did turn into a positive, and we will find out why. So it was the second deal that I ever had worked on, so I was jumping for joy. You know, the feeling of when you're first starting out and a client says, let's put an offer in. Well, who am I kidding? I still get super excited. But it was late in the evening, and I told the agent that I would get it to him really quick, which was probably bad on my part for putting such time restraint on myself. But I was so confident that my first deal went so amazing. So I used that one as a reference to write my second offer. So long story short, my clients were wonderful, a wonderful couple. They were first-time home buyers and were really relying on me as the professional in the situation to help guide them. So I wrote the offer, sent it to them. Long story short, we got it accepted. Everyone's doing a happy dance, and everything was great until closing. So I think it was like a 45-day close. Around 2 p.m., they said, the lawyer said everything closed, everything was great. I just closed my second deal. I was doing a happy dance. My clients were super excited. Everything was great. And then talk about going from a super high to a super low. Around 6 p.m. that day, my clients weren't moving in for about a week, but they were going there because, well, heck, it was their house that they had just bought and they were super excited. So they called me around 6 p.m. and I could hear it in their voices that something wasn't right. You know, if you know me, I'm a super happy, bubbly person, and I usually find that that reflects onto my clients, and that's our conversations that we have. So I could tell that something was wrong in their voice, and they said, Steph, what is going on? Why did the sellers take our fridge? And my heart just dropped. And I said, okay, let me look into this. I'll get it all figured out and I'll call you right back. So I get off the phone with them because at this point I'm freaking out. And my biggest motto in real estate when I started out was fake it till you make it. Again, you're the professional, so I didn't want them seeing me freak out. So I got off the phone with them. I called the lawyer, no answer. I called the other realtor, no answer. So I started going over the agreement. And under chattels, I had listed washer, dryer, microwave, oven, you know, everything. But I did not list the fridge. So at this point, I am so upset. I know it's my fault. I know I screwed up. So I've wanted to crawl into a hole and cry, but I stayed up all night. I talked to some other realtors. I really found out that my screw up. But remembering that at this point, the agreement had been through the lawyer's hands, the buyer's hands, the seller's hands, the mortgage agent's hands, everything. No one said anything. But again, the onus always is going to fall on you. I knew that technically it is on the buyers, but again, your clients are looking to you to have their back. So I knew I had to rip off the band-aid and call them in the morning. So I picked up the phone and called them and said, guys, look, we didn't include the fridge in the agreement, so they didn't really take your fridge. They took their fridge with them. But I promise I am going to have this all sorted out, and you guys will be happy. They were super confused, every right so. They thought they had bought a house with a fridge, and they didn't. But I knew that I was going to get this all sorted out for them. So when I got off the phone with them, I knew where my some of my commission was going. And it was to buy them a fridge. So I started calling appliance stores and I was getting a fridge delivered to them that day. Again, I can't stress the fact that I know it wasn't 100% my responsibility to buy them a fridge, but you have to trust your gut. And my gut was telling me that this was the right thing to do. It was going to make it all right and my clients happy, which in turn was going to make me happy at the end of the day. So I go to the house to meet the delivery people, but I don't want my clients to know. So I felt like I was a spy. I had to do a little bit of a fib. I called them and said, hey guys, I just want to go inside quickly because again, I knew they hadn't moved in. They weren't moving in for a few days, a week, something like that. I said, I'm just going to go in quickly and take a picture of where the fridge is supposed to be to send it to the agent. They didn't think anything of it. They said, okay. Again, they were super sweet people. So I'm so thankful that they weren't, you know, some of the stricter clients. But so I went in to meet the delivery people, got the fridge in, and everything was great. And I was just anticipating them going to see it, but I didn't obviously tell them. So fast forward to the next day, they now call me again, and I can hear again the confusion, but with a little bit of excitement in their voice. And they're like, Steph, we're so confused. What's going on? We just got here and there's a fridge. So I actually lived about 10 minutes from them. So I said, okay, you guys are there. I'm going to come right over. So I got in my car, drove over there, and they met me outside. And I could see like what they're like, what the heck is going on? This has been like a crazy 48 hours. So I say, okay, guys, I have to be honest. I felt horrible about not including the fridge in the agreement. And I know that we were, myself included, we thought that we were getting a fridge along with the house. So I went out and got a fridge, and I was delivered yesterday when I had told you I was coming to take a picture. So I got you an even better fridge than we thought we were getting initially. And let's be honest, they were thrilled, they were overjoyed, they couldn't stop thanking me. And this is where the positive comes out, because they were so upset, but now they were so happy, which in turn made me so happy. And that's really happy clients, right? And fast forward a couple years, like I pretty much turn into friends with all my clients. And with them, you know, we always over years had a couple jokes about the fridge and all that. But they had called me and they said, Steph, like we want to expand our family. So we're really looking for a bigger house and we want to get this one sold. So this is where it really turned in my mind from the negative that I held on to the second deal and always triple checking my offers and not having the fridge, to actually being able to sell the house that they bought with me with the fridge that I bought for them. So it really turned into such a positive. And truly, I think that there's a few lessons to be learned from the fridge mishap. Number one, that if you aren't comfortable, and this goes for anyone, whether you're a new agent experienced, we all do deals that sometimes there's things that we don't use often or feel that we're 100% confident with. If you aren't 100% confident with an offer or something that you're including in, have your broker of record, have an experienced agent go over it and make sure your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed before sending it to your client. Because again, like we are the professionals and we have to hold ourselves to that standard, you know, and they just as they do. So number one, have someone review your offers if you're not 100% comfortable. Because again, like for me, I'm super thankful that it was just a fridge. It could have been a lot worse. But I'm glad that I learned this lesson over a fridge and I will forever remember it. And honestly, most importantly, remembering that we're all humans, we all make mistakes, and that is really what we grow from and we learn from. And if we can learn from our mistakes and make it better for the next time and not make the same mistake twice, we're really learning and growing. And remembering we're all in this together, we can learn, grow, and rise up together. So thank you. And everyone, please remember to include all appliances in your agreements. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm sure that was a very stressful day when your clients
I'll
called you
never,
and said,
ever forget it.
yeah,
That's for sure.
what happened to the fridge? That would be a nightmare. Our next speaker is Megan. So Megan, are you able to get in to be the presenter? Since we are on this webinar, there's generally technical difficulties every time.
Yeah, so I'm just waiting for Naz to give me the option.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Great. So this is Megan Denny. She is a longtime YPN member of the committee. She's always keen to contribute, and we were so happy when she raised her hand to, come on and share this difficult story with all of us here. And I promise you, you're all going to learn something from here. And let's go, Megan.
Awesome. So everybody can see my screen. Okay, guys, so my name is Megan Denny. Thanks, Kate, for the introduction. Amazing story, Stephanie, and I loved it. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Megan Denny. I'm from Bosley Real Estate. I've been in the industry now for 3.5 years. And the Rise Up story that I'm going to share with you today is one that is fairly common. And one of many in our industry, unfortunately. So it's a story about working with friends and family on a purchase or on a sale of their home. But it really didn't or doesn't work out the way that we all sort of planned. So there will be some really great suggestions and lessons that I'll be discussing at the end, so stay tuned. All right, so 3 things about me. I'm originally from Windsor, Ontario, and I actually recorded a song with a local artist called Welcome to Windsor, reppin' my city. I was Mrs. Potts in a school musical. I desperately tried to get a real picture of this, but I couldn't find one, so that's very unfortunate because it would have been hilarious. I still love to sing and be dramatic, but only on stage. So one of my favorite travel destinations is Roatan Island, Honduras. If you have not been, you should absolutely check it out. All right, so I started off as a customer service rep and I climbed the corporate ladder to a district manager position, and I ended that career in downtown Toronto as a district manager. I had over 60 employees and I managed them as well as all of the operations and the corporate initiatives. So my colleagues became my closest friends. I stood in some of their weddings. I've seen their children grow up, and I'm still friends with a lot of people from my corporate days, actually. So this was us, like after hours, complaining about the corporate changes. We had drinks flowing and lots of food being eaten. And, we became really tight. So in the corporate world, working closely with your friends, it actually works, to your benefit in your career. So my transition into real estate, it was pretty good. I was very lucky to have gotten a listing from a past coworker within a few weeks of being licensed. There was a very large learning curve, especially only being a few weeks in. So I leaned a lot on my broker at the time, and my future in real estate felt super promising, and I couldn't wait to jump in, learn everything I could, gain more experience in the field, and help more people with their real estate needs. I was very eager and driven, and I still am today. All right, so you hear this a lot in real estate, and it's absolutely true. Start with your sphere. So you start contacting everyone you know, and you let them know that you're now in real estate, and you ask for business. Obviously, your sphere is going to consist of your friends and family, but with that, sometimes we kind of have a dangerous expectation that they're going to use us with their real estate transactions. And that they'll automatically become our biggest cheerleaders and our biggest advocates. But unfortunately, that is not always the case. So I started working with friends from my church on the purchase of a new home. They already owned a townhome, and they wanted to upgrade to a detached because their family was growing. So before we started the search, there was a lot of casual discussion. We talked about the process, their fears, past behaviors with high anxiety from the wife in particular. We discussed their needs and wants, and this was all over, a large span of time. So we finally actually started looking for houses in the summer of 2019. There was a lot of legwork done, lots of research, contacting and communicating with other agents, managing client expectations, et cetera, you know what it is, right? So like most couples, they were not on the same page with likes and dislikes. That happens pretty frequently as well. So finally, towards the end of the summer, they found a house that they both loved, and it had tons of space, but it had a pool. And the wife wasn't completely comfortable with the pool since none of her 3 kids actually knew how to swim. So they took a day to think about it, and of course, in real estate, an offer that came in the next day on the house that we wanted by a different agent, of course. So my clients had a decision to make, and after telling me to write up an offer, now at 8 p.m. we are under the gun. They ended up deciding by 10 p.m. that they wanted to pull their offer. So they actually regretted that decision later on, but it is what it is. So they slowed down their search into the fall, getting ready for back to school season. And I had them on a prospect match, and we saw a couple of homes here and there throughout the fall and winter months, but mostly it was just the husband kind of calling me, asking me questions about properties, etc. And we just continued our friendship and socializing, of course. Isn't this like such a true reflection of how Ontario people feel once the season finally comes? We just want to like suck in the sun and the fresh air. Okay, back to the story. So my friends started their search again in full force of summer 2020. And they made their intentions very clear. They wanted a house before fall. So they were moving quickly, making fairly quickly decisions. And we talked about what they needed to improve on their current townhouse in order to sell for a top dollar. So, you know, things they could do in the kitchen, the bathrooms, light fixtures, furnishings, et cetera, et cetera. And they actually took all of my advice, by the way. So we discussed possible listing strategies and decided what pricing strategy we would likely use once we listed their townhome. And so like the market was moving pretty quickly, which, you know, in the GTA is fairly common. We put 2 offers in. They were rejected on 2 different homes. It wasn't easy, you know, on top of multiple offers, you know, that we were up against. The wife was, again, very high anxiety and wanted to back out of almost every offer that we put in. She was never like 100% about any home, and was still, you know, emotionally tied to her current home. So finally, I was like losing hope, and we finally found a house that the wife loved. So 3rd time was the charm, and we had an accepted offer that we won in multiples. It was at the very, very top of the client's budget. So the wife, my friend, was actually very sick with her anxiety because of this. She couldn't sleep, she was vomiting, she was crying, you know, etc. And the husband just like wanted my sign in their lawn ASAP, and obviously so did I. So there was actually a gap of approximately 24 hours between the accepted offer on the new home and what we scheduled to do the listing paperwork on the townhome. Well, guess what? A lot can change in 24 hours. So they were calling and texting me questions about the sale of their house, and you know, I kept offering to come earlier, you know, than scheduled, so that I could get, you know, put their mind at ease essentially. But the husband was like, no, it's okay, you know, tomorrow's fine. So I got up super early, went into my brokerage, and I printed out my seller's guide and comparables, etc. I was telling everyone in the office that I have a listing coming out if they have anybody interested in the area. And you know, I was bragging. I was super excited. And so I then got a call from my clients, and it was 1 hour before I was scheduled to meet with them. And they basically called to tell me that they've decided to list their townhome with another agent. So I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. That was me. I was 100% devastated. I was actually like shaking while I was on the phone with them. They were explaining to me, you know, how much they loved me, how much they respected me, and couldn't have bought a house with anyone else. But they felt like this part of the transaction may not be good for our friendship. And, you know, so of course I start to frantically explain to them that, you know, I'm confident, I'm a shark, I'm going to get them top dollar, you know, and you didn't even give me a chance to do the listing presentation, you know, go over my services that I provide. But it was too late. They had already made their decision. So after I got off the call with them, I went right up to the president of Bosley's office, Kristen Bosley, and I admittedly cried to her. And to console me, she shared an awful experience that she also had with a best friend early on in her career. So I'm not the only one. You know, soon I had several managers and colleagues reaching out to me and giving me their stories of similar experiences with friends and family. And I would often see posts on the realtor forums that I'm on from many successful agents posting about their own experiences like this and how hurt they are. And most of the solidarity responses were like, yes, it sucks. It happened to me too. Pick yourself back up and move on. Okay, so what happened? You know, in hindsight, what I believe happened is that their anxiety got the best of them. They maxed themselves out of their budget and decided to trust a more established agent in the area and in the industry. Of course, it stings, but you know, I can't control people's emotions and the decisions that they make as a result of those emotions. They did what they felt was in their best interest for their family, and it did end up working out well for them in the end with the other agent, as hard as that is to admit. And you know, I also learned not to assume that friends and family are going to use you in their real estate transactions. They may trust you to guide them. They may even call you and ask you all kinds of questions. That's valuable information. And they may even take up a ton of your time with those questions. But in the end, they may actually not use you when the time comes to sell their home. So it's up to us, the professionals. We need to take the relationship hat off and be the professionals that they need. That means protecting ourselves as well. We need to have proper paperwork signed and we need to have everything clear and laid out. If we're given the opportunity to work with our friends and family, then we have to treat them as a client and we need to prove our value first and foremost and be confident in the services that we provide. Mistakes are proof that you are trying, so always remember that. And that is the end of my Rise Up presentation. So thanks, guys, and I hope you learned a lot.
Thank you so much, Megan. That I'm sure was such a hard day for you, and probably some time afterwards. And it's so great that you have the support of so many people around you. And this happens to all of us. And if it hasn't happened to you, it probably will at some point. You know, there's a lot of members that your family and friends can choose, and it's not always going to be you. So now it's the time for our question and answer period. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they would like to ask or say? Just put them in the question box. We have a comment here from Varsha. Gosh, that's crushing, Megan. And the learning's always there in hindsight, but crushing in the moment, which is so true.
Yeah. It was I mean, I was literally shaking. And, you know, I'm thinking like, how am I going to carry on friendship with these people moving forward? Like, how could my friends do this to me? You know, how could they treat me like this? And how could they expect us to maintain a friendship after this?
Yeah.
I really like your point though. You have to have the two hats. And, you know, I think I can speak for everyone. And you said it the best. Like, we all have a relative, a friend who's going to call us, ask us a bunch of questions. I'll use myself. My cousin calls me probably, I'd say, at least once a week and asks me questions about the market. I know he's not going to use me. But then maybe, and I guess I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt, but maybe they don't know the way that we think about it. So I think also a good point is pointing that out to our sphere, to our family, to our friends, and establish that relationship initially right off the hop. And I agree with you on the paperwork because, and as Kate said, if this hasn't happened to you, it probably will.
Megan, did you continue your friendship?
Yes. So it has not necessarily been the same. It's certainly over time, you know, healing has happened on my on my front, where, you know, I've kind of just had to forgive and let it go, for my own like sanity, to be honest with you, because I was so hurt and angry. But yeah, so I just let it go for me. And you know, we don't socialize as often, but we definitely still communicate and are in group, you know, settings frequently. So we're always like, you know, there's a familiarity there. So the short answer is yeah.
Great. Paim says, take it nowadays, you may be that expert agent that clients decide to use in their listing versus someone they know. And that
Yeah.
is another very true point, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows several realtors in Toronto, and if they're choosing you, there's somebody else that they're not choosing.
Absolutely. And that's a really, really great point.
Did your friend buy with you after she sold?
Did she buy with me? Yeah, so we did the buy first, and we got that wrapped up. And it was yeah, and then she sold after.
Jimmy says, for Stephanie, I've been through a similar experience as Stephanie and much worse, but I ended up buying a new washer for them, and seeing me be on their side helped me, and I still get calls from their clients and they treat me like family.
I totally agree. You know, especially like when you're first starting out, we've all been there, and we know like being a realtor, it's you only make money when you close something. It was my second deal. I really wanted that money. But ultimately, I knew it was the right thing to do, and probably same for you. And really, I've actually like that was 5.5 years ago, and they've bought their house with me, they sold their house, and one family member and one friend, I've actually bought and sold them as well. So it really goes to show that it's not just that one client that you're appeasing or making them feel better. It's their whole sphere now, because now I look like the rock star agent who bought them the flippin' fridge, and I seem like an amazing person, and then they're going to pass that story on. And same for anyone who's ever missed anything in an agreement, like the washer and dryer. You seem like that rock star person, and that feeling is always going to be passed down to every person that they introduce you to as well.
And I think like a really good point to point out about your situation, Steph, and for other realtors is like, we are the problem solvers. Like, regardless of whether you forgot to put it in or they just took the fridge, you know, like we're the problem solvers. And no matter what, that fridge probably made you way more money, you know what I mean, than what you gave out. So, you know, it's a really important lesson that sometimes, you know, closings don't always go as smooth as we want them to. And our job is to just like problem solve and figure it out for them so that they end up having a great experience.
I just drove to a client's house the other day. Funny fact, like they called me and they're like, Steph, the sellers left all this garbage. The whole garbage can's full. What are we gonna do? And I was like, okay, don't worry. I literally went over there and picked up all their garbage and had to find a place to dispose of it on my own. Problem solvers at the best. We all have our funky things, but as long as your client's happy at the end of the day, like that's what's going to reflect on you and show them how amazing you are. So it's always going that extra mile.
Yeah.
Rita says, I feel terrible you went through this experience. My sister did the same to me. So have you done any deals with other friends and family? And if yes, how did you do it differently? Rita, your sister. That is not,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be
Brutal.
really, yeah.
So I think to answer this, you know, I really want to make sure that I have the proper paperwork signed, that I'm less casual, you know, about speaking of the processes, and I'm actually making sure that we schedule meetings to discuss what their needs and wants are, what their timelines are, what their motivations are. And I think just even setting that type of tone in the beginning really sets the precedent for how things are going to work out in the future. And, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway is don't allow a friend or family member to be very casual. You have to, like I said, take that relationship hat off and treat them just like any other client who, called you from social media, who called you, as a referral or emailed you or whatever. You would set up a meeting with them to discuss these things. And that's exactly what needs to happen. I actually have a friend who does this a lot to me. He texts me questions constantly. And I always tell him, if this is something you want to chat about, let's set up a time and let's do a Zoom and we'll go through your concerns and your, whatever it is that you're asking. And so you can quickly see if someone's serious as well, because they'll be like, oh, no, it's okay. I just had like this question, or they will actually say, oh, okay, like, yeah, I do have a couple things that I'd like to ask. And so you're setting that professional precedent right from the get-go. And I just think it's like a mentality that changes for them after that.
Can I say one thing? Because I love what you said, and it made me think of something. An experienced realtor when I first started out said this to me, and it stuck with me forever and to this day, and it makes so much sense, and I hold it near and dear to my heart. When you are meeting someone that was a friend first, before they were a client, you naturally want to go in and say, hey, how's it going? How's the house? How's the cottage? Like, how's the kids? And talk about all the friend stuff first. Don't. Do the complete opposite. Talk about work first. Hey, how's it going? Let's get down to business. And once the business portion's done, then we can move on to the friend side, because it's exactly like you're saying, have the business hat on first and foremost. And that's what's going to help establish your relationship. Business first, pleasure after.
Great advice. Nikki says, often we see buyer clients, they want to use you for your information as an information gatherer and take them for showings. How soon is too soon to get the BRA signed?
Well, I can speak for this. I think we're all different and how we conduct this, and I'm sure Megan will have a point to make on this note as well. But I think you have to be your own judge of that, and judge the client. Sometimes I have clients sign them initially before we even see one house. And sometimes I bring it on our first showing. And honestly, sometimes I have them sign it when they're signing the offer. It really is dependent on the client. Just remember though, for your own self, that the buyer rep is there to guide, like to protect you. And it's for them as well. As much as it's there to protect you, it's to protect them. And if you express that to them, this is establishing our relationship, and you sign this, we can go look at anything, I can answer all your questions, and I'm there to cover your butt, then they should feel comfortable to sign it. But I think you have to judge each and every client on your own on that note.
I definitely second that, Steph. And, I would only, the only thing I can contribute is that it's really important to go through what that BRA is. And I think that also is a way to kind of set the tone for people, what they need to do in order to work with you. And, I think as long as you can really go through what that means, and that's there not to just protect yourself, but it is there to protect them as well. But yes, and because maybe my broker is watching, get the BRA signed right away.
Right away, at the first practicable opportunity.
Yes, it is true, everyone.
Do not cross the threshold of a home.
And must be signed before making an offer.
The next question we have from Olga: what is your advice for any agents or new agents about how to deal with abusive clients when you're just beginning? So when you're just beginning and it's hard to start out new and pretend that you have a client who is not very nice.
Well, if someone's not very nice, you have to be able to, honestly, I actually love the words that Megan said, is setting the precedent. From the very get-go, if you set the precedent that you are the professional here, Like I've said this in multiple YPN meetings, like remembering when you go to the doctors, you're trusting them as the professional. You go to the mechanics, you're trusting them as the professional. These people are coming to you and trusting you as the professional. You have to stand up for yourself. You can't let someone walk all over you, treat you with disrespect. And further, maybe as a newer agent, a good like piece of advice would be go to an experienced agent at your office, your broker of record, someone, and ask them to either come on the first showing with you, the Zoom call, whatever it is, so you can see how they interact, or even if it's with their client and you're just there as shadowing. It might be beneficial for you to experience how other agents conduct themselves with their clients and how they handle it, so you feel better equipped to do it with your clients. But know your worth, know your value.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I'm a big, person on like, if something, sucks my energy, for example, and it takes everything I have to, put this thing together and it just feels like it's never coming together. Just like Steph said, you know what, if I wouldn't accept that in my personal life, and I'm not going to accept that in my business life or my professional life, I should say. So no one's allowed to abuse me in any way, shape, or form. And I certainly do not want to take that type of client on, and I would absolutely have to let that client go for sure.
It'll be super scary your first time letting a client go, because you probably at that point don't have like this well-equipped multiple people and all this, but you have to put yourself first. And this is a business where you don't have someone patting you on the back for your successes, but you also don't have someone telling you not to do something. It's not worth it. You have to be the controller of that. You, in your personal life too, you are the controller of your happiness, and you deserve to be happy going to work. There may be hiccups that come, but you don't deserve to be treated disrespectful. Like, you don't deserve that. And you have to be able to stand up for yourself, put your foot down, and say to them, hey, I can't have you talking to me like that. If this is how you're going to talk, I don't think this relationship's going to work the best. And I think you'd be better off finding a different agent that suits your needs better.
Yeah, because there's a difference between, a difficult client as opposed to like someone who's abusive, you know what I mean? Or someone who is like blatantly disrespecting you and yeah, being abusive. So, there's definitely a difference there. And as long as like we deal with difficult clients, there's no question about that. But when we're talking about abusive, there's no way.
Yeah, abusive, that's just so wrong. Difficult, we have to all be able to deal with that. I just had a client, first time home buyer. I mean, I had to go through the entire agreement of purchase and sale, every single pre-printed clause, probably 100 hypothetical questions. But the best part is, as much as I would call him difficult, he is a honey of a person and he trusts me. So those, like that, it really is a great client. He just needed a lot of guidance along the way, but that's what our job is. So
true. Have any of you had scheduled a meeting to go over the presentation? I guess a listing presentation or a buyer presentation appointment, and the prospective client cancels on you the first time, and when you try to reschedule, they just keep giving you all kinds of objections. How would you continue, or better, what you would do, or how would you continue, or better, what would you do next time to get them back on? Reset up the time.
I don't know that there is anything that you can do. There is a lot out of your control in that situation. They're the ones who canceled on you. And so, I just think just all you can do is really keep in touch. Maybe they have decided to go with someone else, and that's why they canceled, and you'll probably see their place on MLS shortly after. And you just deal with it. But there's not much that you can do it's kind of out of your control. As long as that meeting was very clear, you both knew what you were meeting down for, or meeting together for, then they canceled. There's not really anything you could do. All you can do is just keep in touch with them and try to maybe give them market updates and stuff like that. So right now we're in like such a changing time in the GTA, right? Where it's like some things are down, some things are up, you know, multiple offers are not as much, but you know, some are still going, like, so there's just so much to talk about that you just want to continue to try to show your value as well. So, you know, not just like, hey, can we reschedule? Hey, can we reschedule? But like getting them to open up and talking about real estate and the market and, you know, what you want to provide them, I think is great.
I totally agree. I don't think like hounding them with when are you available? When are you available is going to be the way to do it. If it was a buyer's presentation and they are working with you as a buyer's agent, send them some houses that you know fit their criteria. Say, hey, do any of these jump out to you? If you're listing their house, send them some things that sold in their area. Hey, look, this just sold. We can chat further about it. Here's XYZ time that I'm available. Let me know what best works for you.
Yeah.
And hopefully then you get it. But I agree with Megan that it really could be out of your control. But again, you just have to take that with a grain of salt and put your head high and know your worth and carry on to the next client.
And keep in touch, right? Keep in touch with them until they tell you set the appointment or they tell you to scram, right?
Yeah. I had a client that I honestly thought was like a really like wasn't going anywhere client. I would follow up, you know, like their things on Instagram, wish them well, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, they called me one day out of the blue, said, hey, Steph, there's this house. We really want to go see it. It was a long weekend. I got them in. We went and saw it. We put an offer in that day. They got it. Like out of the blue, it's all about, I agree, keeping in contact, the little things too. And that's where social media I find is such a great thing because it's not like, hi, I'm Stephanie King, real estate broker, blah, 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 blah. It's more casual. You build that friendship and you can see their lives, whether it's like they get a new dog, they have a new baby, their kid graduates, wishing them well, all that sort of stuff. It really goes a long way.
It truly does. Elnaz says, I have a friend who finds the homes herself and just uses me to show her the property. We've seen 3 properties so far. We don't have a BRA signed yet. What do you recommend to do with her? Get the BRA signed.
Get the BRA signed. At least then you know you won't be wasting your time. Show your friend like and maybe set them up on a search so it's like you're sending her the houses as well. Put her on collab, put her on a prospect search, whatever is better for you. But at least that way you can converse a little more on the houses and definitely get the BRA signed. If you explain to your friend like, hey, this is establishing our relationship, go over it with them and bring it to the next, like send them a text when you're booking, like you're going to see 123 Main Street. Say, hey friend, looking forward to seeing you at 123 Main Street at 3 o'clock. I'm gonna have some paperwork that we can go over and sign together. Period.
I used to get offended by that, like, or worried maybe that, you know, by them looking into the stuff that they want, I would get, you know, a bit worried that they weren't, you know, using my prospect match or whatever the case may be. So here's a couple of things. I actually love those clients because they kind of know exactly what they want and they're just feeding it to you like, hey, like this is exactly what I'm looking for. I really like this. Like, let's go see it. Definitely get the VRA signed, but also you can, I don't know if you use Collab, but that's a great way to get them onto a platform that you have access to see what it is that they're searching and see what it is that they're looking for. So trying to get them in on that instead of maybe using, I don't know, like House Sigma or whatever else. Like there's like hundreds of platforms, right? So, but yeah, try to get them on Collab and they can set up their own search. You can see exactly what they're doing on there. So maybe that'll kind of help you feel a bit more confident. But you know, I have clients like that and it's, for me, thankfully, it's never turned into them, you know, not using me for the buy. So just FYI.
Thanks, Megan. Maria says, I do find it more difficult to work with friends and family. Most will see you only in your previous career if you were working in another field prior to real estate. Thank you for sharing your stories. Can you give some advice we can give our friends and family right at the beginning so that there are no hard feelings, but also gives them the opportunity to go use someone else if they choose to?
I think the long and short of it is tell them how, like if you're first starting out, tell them how, like this goes for your whole sphere. And it really is a thing, because when you're first coming into real estate, you don't have clients, most of us at least. And I know I didn't. And the biggest thing is I blasted all my friends and family. I am so excited to be in real estate. And the big thing I was scared about, I sound young, I look young, I don't have family in real estate, that sort of thing. And you know what though? I use that to my advantage. I said, I'm young, I'm eager, I have a bunch of wonderful people backing me, experienced realtors, and I flourished because of it. And I think it really is about setting the boundaries first and foremost with your friends and family. Tell them how excited you are. And it's not about if you know that someone, like let's say your friend casually talks to you about selling their home, meet with them and exactly like Megan said, set the precedent. Set the precedent and talk about the business first, and then talk about their kids, their dogs, their parrots, their anything, all the things that the friendship side, but put the business first. And if they don't use you, really try wiping it off, hold your shoulders high, and know that you're still awesome, you're still amazing. It's just, it wasn't meant to be, I live by the motto, what it's meant to be will be. And if they don't choose to work with you, maybe you're better off. I agree, it's way harder in my opinion to work with friends and family than it is to work with clients that you
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think I think just setting that expectation, in the beginning, is a big deal, and like just acknowledge it. Like
Yeah.
I actually now want to acknowledge it. I want to acknowledge that it can be awkward working with friends and family, and hey, brother or whatever, cousins, bestie, whatever it is, like it can be awkward. And are you okay with this? And saying to them, you're going to meet the professional instead of, the friend or the cousin that you've known for X amount of years. Like you're actually going to now meet the professional who's going to be telling you what to do. And, are you cool with that? Because my job is to make sure that you get the best results, and not to make sure, in this moment that we are besties. So they have to be compartmentalized. And are you cool with that? And I think just acknowledging it and laying it flat out is probably your best bet. And, I haven't worked with a friend or family member since, but that is absolutely going to be my approach. Just take it head on.
Yeah, take it head on, show them that you are the professional, and also tell them that, because you are, a friend or family, no one else is going to look out for their best interests as much as you are, right? You are emotionally invested in them as well. And with that, in addition to how professional you are and how you conduct your business, it could be a win-win for you and your friend slash relative client.
That's a good point.
Okay, well, I think that we're just wrapping up to just about 2 o'clock. I'd like to say thank you to all of you for taking the time out of your day to be with us and listen to Stephanie and Megan share some pretty, big, big events that happened to them in their careers, which I'm sure when they happened, they were crushing. And they've come out on the other side and are shining stars and professionals and so great at what they do. And no matter what happens, there's always another day, and you just keep going, trudge ahead, work really, really, really hard, and you can be successful. Do you girls have anything else to say?
I think it's just really wonderful. I really am super excited about this series. I'm really glad that we've started it, and I think Megan's story was wonderful. And I really want people to take away from this that we all screw up. It's okay, And I think again, like social media has made it where we think everyone's perfect. You know, you follow all these realtors and you see they sold 12 houses, but you didn't see the 12 they lost out on. And remembering that we all have those days. For every success you see on Instagram or Facebook, there's probably 10 screw ups. So remember that you're humans, and don't be afraid to ask questions or share with someone your screw up to rise together and grow and learn from it. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I second that, and I'm really happy that I got the chance to share this experience with people who either A, have gone through it and know that they're not alone, or B, that will go through it and how to maybe prepare yourself before it happens. So I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I really, I like to keep it real. So, I really like that we get to have this real open dialogue. So thank you, Trev and YPN and Kate and Genevieve and Nav, who you guys don't see because they're in the background, but thanks. Yeah, they work really hard, and thanks for pushing the series forward. I'm looking forward to the future and to hearing more of these. And I really am grateful for your participation and the questions that you asked us as well from the public and fellow realtors. And that's it.
Great. Thank you all for coming. Hope to see you next year. We're gonna continue this great series, and have a great summer, and continue to check in on the YPN Facebook group, and we're all there to share our best practices and any questions that anybody might have. We can continue the discussion over
there. Right? Exactly.
Follow us on social media.
Yes, yes. And thanks again to the Trev staff for organizing all of this. We can't do it without you. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.